بالهادي النبي محمد الله هب لي شفاعته بيوم جزائي.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الغرر الميامين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا، لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأراضين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين، واللعنة على أعدائهم أعداء الدين إلى قيام يوم الدين. قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم وقوله الحق وهو أصدق الصادقين: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال نكروا لها عرشها ننظر أتهتدي أم تكون من الذين لا يهتدون. فلما جاءت قيل أهكذا عرشك قالت كأنه هو وأوتينا العلم من قبلها وكنا مسلمين. وصدها ما كانت تعبد من دون الله إنها كانت من قوم كافرين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the most merciful, may the peace and the blessings of the Almighty Allah be with and amongst all the prophets and messengers, including the last and the beloved Muhammad and his honorable and dignified and purified progeny. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome back to another episode of your program right here on Hadi TV. A closer look into the glorious book where we have been examining the life of many prophets, including the prophet that we are discussing today and we're speaking about today, Sulaiman, this great king, this great prophet, and this great servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The story of the Prophet Sulaiman is mentioned in numerous chapters in the Holy Qur'an. For example, chapter 2 of the Holy Qur'an speaks of the story of the Prophet Sulaiman. We spoke about the story of the Prophet Sulaiman mentioned in chapter 2. The story of the Prophet Sulaiman is also mentioned in chapter 21, and it is also mentioned and found in chapter 34. And it is also mentioned in chapter 38 of the Holy Qur'an, and finally in chapter 27 of the Holy Qur'an. Surah Al-Naml. The ant speaks of the story of Sulaiman in details. And we are getting towards the end of examining the story of the Prophet Sulaiman in chapter 27, Surah Al-Naml. Inshallah, in the next episode we will conclude examining the story of the Prophet Sulaiman within chapter 27, and from there moving on to chapter 34 of the Holy Qur'an, Surah Saba, where it concludes the story of Sulaiman by giving us the story of how Sulaiman left this world and how he departed this world. Let us go back and summarize what we discussed in the previous presentation so that we can better understand the presentation today and the verses that we have to speak about today. The Prophet Sulaiman, salamullahi alayhi, calls the people of Sheba and the Queen of Sheba towards Islam with a letter. And the Queen of Sheba reads the letter. and in response, she asks her advisors for advice. They say, let us go to war with Sulaiman. She's not convinced. She sends a delegation with gifts to Sulaiman. Sulaiman sends the gifts back, and this was a reason for the queen to understand and see what was happening in the kingdom of Sulaiman. How powerful is Sulaiman? Would she be able to stand against Sulaiman? The answer came no. You won't be able to resist against Sulaiman. And Sulaiman sends her messenger back by saying this very powerful statement. He says, "Irja' ilayhim." Go back to them. فَلَنَأْتِيَنَّهُمْ بِجُنُودٍ لَا قِبَلَ لَهُمْ بِهَا. We will come with them with soldiers that they've never even imagined. What was the army of Sulaiman like? He had human beings, behind them jinn, the unseen, and above them birds. And they would attack at once. Imagine you're fighting birds from top, which resembles, for example, the fighter jets today. You're fighting regular soldiers, and above all of that, there's unseen creations that come and strike you from everywhere and you don't see them. Therefore, she knew that she could not stand against this army. So she played it smart. She said, I'm going to go and visit Sulaiman myself with my whole government. Sulaiman wanted to put up a show for her. He said he wants to surprise her before she even arrives. He asked 2 people to bring the throne of Sheba, of Bilqis, to him. One person says, I'll bring the entire throne before you stand up. Another person says, I'll bring the throne in a blink of an eye. And that was Asaf ibn Barkhia. Asaf ibn Barkhia brought the throne for Sulaiman. Now the queen has arrived. Let us read from the Holy Qur'an to see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has wrote for us. Let us go to chapter 27, Surah An-Naml, verse 42. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ. And when the queen arrived, Bilqis, they asked her, not Sulaiman, someone asked her, maybe the person that was welcoming her by the door. قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكِ. I'm sorry, let us go back to verse 41. Sulaiman, when he takes the throne, he says, قَالَ نَكِّرُوا لَهَا عَرْشَهَا. Make the throne a little different. Change a little bit of the resemblance of the throne. Or maybe put it in an area where she would throw her off. نَنْظُرْ. We'll see. أَتَهْتَدِي. Would she know what her throne is? أَمْ تَكُونَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ لَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Or is she going to be one of those queens that don't understand anything and she's just it's gonna fly above her head? Some of the Mufassirin have stated, no, this is not what Sulaiman is saying. Sulaiman here is saying, أَتَهْتَدِي means, will she become Muslim when she sees, wow, my throne is right in front of my eyes. How did my throne get here? And I said last time that her throne was in the most secure of her palaces, and the most secure of the rooms of the palace, and the most secure area of the room, with 1,000 soldiers protecting the throne. How did they get the throne? How did they bring it there? How did Sulaiman get it and sit on it and enjoy it? When she see it, أَتَهْتَدِي. She'll embrace Islam, or she'll be one of those who will never be guided. By seeing a miracle, she'll never be guided. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ. She entered. She came. قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكِ. They asked her, does this look like your throne? Does this resemble your throne? She looked. She said, قَالَتْ كَأَنَّهُ هُوَ. It's as if it's my throne. Now, 2 questions. Number 1 is that why didn't she say, it's my throne? You guys stole my throne. And why is it that Sulaiman put this challenge up for her? Sulaiman put this challenge up for her for many reasons. The Mufassirin have stated either it's all of them or some of them. The first one is that Sulaiman wanted to challenge her mind and her intellect and to see how is it that he can go about influencing her. You see, by asking a person or putting them in a challenge, and by them giving their answer, you know how to debate them, you know how to speak to them. Are they someone that is so basic? Are they intellectual? Are they smart? Are they simple? Sulaiman wanted to feel her out, see whether she's simple, whether she's intellectual, whether she's able to grasp things quickly. Is she going to overcome this one? What type of answer she's going to give? And yes, she gave the best answer. Second reason was because Sulaiman thought this powerful lady, this lady full of power and authority, if she becomes Muslim, I'll give her power. I won't take her out of her position. I'll keep her in the same position. So a person that I want to make her queen, or I want to give a high position, I want to know what her brain's like. I want to know if she's smart. I want to know if she's simple. I want to know if she's a little on the stupid side. This was another reason. Mufassirin have also stated a third reason, that Sulaiman could have been interested in marrying her. She's a queen. She knows how to rule. He's a king. If she embraces Islam, why not? He would marry her. So for the following three reasons, he put up this challenge. He put up a great challenge for her, and she gave the best answers. And she truly passed his test. Let us read. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ قِيلَ أَهَكَذَا عَرْشُكِ. Does this look like your throne? قَالَتْ كَأَنَّهُ هُوَ. Why didn't she say, yes, it's my throne, you guys stole it? She said, it's as if it's my throne. If she would have said, it is my throne, I was against her taking precaution, because it could have been not her throne. And she would have said something that was wrong. So what did she said? What did she say? She said, And if she would have said, no, it doesn't actually look like my throne, she would have looked stupid because it was her throne. She would have looked very simple, foolish. So she neither said it's mine, or she said that it's not. She said it looks as if it's mine, both taking precaution and giving the right answer. Let us read through the verses. Again, going back to verse 41. قَالَتْ كَأَنَّهُ هُوَ. Then she says, look, let me tell you one thing. وَأُوتِينَ الْعِلْمَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. We were informed of Sulaiman and his power and his authority. We were informed that we're going to face a man with this ability. So we are not surprised. I'm not surprised. And I knew that I was going to see something like this. وَكُنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ. And we, when we heard that Sulaiman, maybe she's speaking about herself, returned the gifts, he did not accept the gifts, and they gave us the details of how birds and animals and jinn and ins and humans and everything is serving Sulaiman. وَكُنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ. We entered the religion of Islam. We became submissive towards this prophet. We accepted the role of this prophet. Beautiful. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a statement. Verse 43. وَصَدَّهَا. And he refrained her and he stopped her. مَا كَانَتْ تَعْبُدْ. From what she used to worship, the sun. مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. While neglecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the worship of the Almighty. إِنَّهَا كَانَتْ مِن قَوْمٍ كَافِرِينَ. For she was from the community of the infidels, the idol worshippers. She did not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She used to worship the sun. But Sulaiman stopped her. Sulaiman guided her. Sulaiman brought her to the right path. Sulaiman was able to bestow his guidance upon her. And brothers and sisters, let us learn from the story of Sulaiman. This is not just a story for us to be amused with. It's a story for us to keep in our day-to-day lives. A story to learn from. A story to benefit from. A story to use and incorporate in our day-to-day lives. Maybe you're at school. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you are in a country that does not understand Islam. This is how you represent Islam. You have to be smart. You have to be brilliant. You have to be intellectual. And you have to evaluate people. You cannot go to a kid and speak to him on higher standards. And you could not go to an intellectual man and speak to him like a child. You also need to know the language of people. If you're propagating in India, speak Indian. If you're propagating in America, speak English. If you're speaking elsewhere, you have to speak the people's language. You have to know their mind. And that is the only way if you want to be successful in propagating the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Propagating the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not easy, but it is sweet, it is simple. It brings about the pleasure of Allah. For Rasulullah says in his famous hadith to Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ya Ali, لو أن يهدي الله بك رجلا خير لك مما طلعت عليه الشمس. O Ali, if Allah guides one man on your hand with your efforts, it is better for you than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you everything that the sun rises on and everything that the sun shines on. Meaning the entire world. Giving you the entire world is less significant than one person being guided by you. Let us learn how to guide people. Let us first guide ourselves. Let us truly have a bond with the Qur'an. وَصَدَّهَا مَا كَانَتْ تَعْبُدُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. He was able to stop her from worshipping anything besides Allah. إِنَّهَا كَانَتْ مِن قَوْمٍ كَافِرِينَ. She was from the nation of the infidels and the idol worshippers, and He saved her. And verses 44 onwards, it is when the Queen of Sheba was received by His Majesty Sulaiman, and the conversation between the Queen of Sheba and Sulaiman himself, which will come inshallah in the next episode, where we inshallah will conclude the story of Sulaiman. Until next time, I leave you under the protection of Allah, under the guidance of the Qur'an. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
ربي بالهادي النبي محمد الله هب لي شفاعته بيوم جزاء